Good morning, class. This is James with Demo Reel, the mobile podcast, post-pandemic podcast. That makes sense. Anyways, good morning to everybody. Welcome to this special episode of Streaming Your Dreams, where where I take you actually into a look and conversations in the speaking with veterans of the industry. And we kicked off last week, of course, talking about acting and a little bit of modeling and self-promoting yourself with the 1 minute reel and how the industry has really changed over the years. And just to give you a little background about who I am a native California. Was born in the city of Hollywood at the Kaiser Permanente on Sunset. Yes, sir. Native California in the house. That's why I love this state so much. I love America, and I cover life in America, and the dirtiest and the grimiest and the sleaziest. That's what I go after. But since I was born in Hollywood and basically I've lived my life in the San Gabriel Valley, I've been just doing my thing. I started off with early on doing a little bit of a couple of, not a lot, couple of print modeling gigs back when I was born, back way back in the early '60s. The call, I would say, or the flavor of what they were looking for back in those days is definitely was light eyes, brown hair, white eyes, white primarily, as it was kind of like a pre television show, old school Brady Bunch. But that look was, but certainly I had the look, did do a lot of print modeling, stuff like that. But as far as modeling, I did go off and do some stock photography modeling. I've been in vintage bathing suits from 1920s for retail shops here and there, whatever side projects that paid. And I always told, like I told the acting studio students at the the studio group there with Jen Griffin over there in Long Beach, and spent the day there with a lot of great little talented kids and teens and some young adults as well on acting and stuff like that, and especially modeling. So whatever the project you fit, and in my case, I was I had to work for a living, so of course I was a union man all the way. United Food and Commercial Workers Union for many years. So you had to work and to pay the rent and stuff like that. But whatever days off I could get, I was always trying to, and I didn't have to try hard because my brothers, of course, Dan Parada is a producer, he's a screenwriter, was casting at the time, and also I do have another brother, David Anthony Parada, which he has a casting unit. He does casting out of Las Vegas. Nevada, and he goes by, he doesn't use our surname, which is Parada. He goes by David Anthony Casting. He is, that is true, my brother. And of course, my family, I've got the young and my youngest brother, Tom Parada, and you're going to be hearing from him. I think he's battling a little bit of COVID thing right now, so he's on quarantine, but when he comes in, we'll definitely talk to Tom. Tom's got is actually an actor, and he's also a physical therapist, trainer, rehabilitation therapist, and whatever, basketball mentor. But Tom is also acting. Then again, when he can get bits and bit roles here and there. But Tom, of course, had some some featured bits on some films and stuff, and so we're going to talk to him as part of. Acting. We're going to talk. Basically, we're going to talk to a lot of actors, and a lot of them will probably be my family members because of their decades and years in the industry. I always we don't really tout about it or anything like that, but since I'm doing this spotlight of streaming your dreams, all aspects of getting involved in the industry, I want to make sure that I try to get the right people, and I want to try to tackle all aspects of being behind the scenes, and that brings me to the art of storyboarding. And I know people say, well, what the hell is storyboarding? I don't know what the hell it is. And as you can see, right behind me is my storyboard. And of course, I just threw this together. This is what is this? This is Mommy, Can We Buy a Chimney? And as you can see, there's frames here. There's 3 frames. This particular story is a story that was written by Ariana Janae Anderson at the age of 6. And this was her story when I was fighting with her on trying to put her down to sleep one Christmas Eve, where she was worried about Santa not coming to her house because she didn't have a chimney. So, and the story came out of, and when you talk about stories and how they come, it's kind of they come out of nowhere. It could just be out of a life situation. It could be out of a historical event. And of course, I've got a couple of historical events that I have the treatments for. I haven't really got that are. I haven't really moved forward with them, but eventually I will. But in this particular case, she's 6 years old. She rightfully owns 50% of the royalties if this book does take off, or if it is produced for, I'm toying with a couple of different mediums here on this particular one, but she rightfully owns 50% of any and all royalties of this story, because this was her story. And this came out of when we were fighting that Christmas Eve, when she said, can you read me a bedtime story? And of course I had. It was a night before Christmas. But no, I didn't read it, A Nightmare on Elm Street or The Nightmare Before Christmas. Christmas year, of course, it was The Night Before Christmas is what was going to be read to her. But of course, I joked with her and I said, you tell me a story. So, and here's the story that she told me. And I consulted a lawyer when I set up a trust account for her, because I knew that one day that this particular story is going to take off. Right now, that's what I'm working at. So, and especially speaking with Jen last week, it's funny, we were talking about the Jackie Coogan laws of minors that are writers and screen directors and whatever. You got to protect these kids. If they're yours or not, I had a lawyer that said, well, why don't you just take all the credit? And there's no way, because that really wasn't my story. All I did was embellish and put in the dialogue so I could eventually tell the story, which I did. And I put it together in a construction book form, and eventually I did tell that story. But now I'm going to share this story because it is a story of a little girl in South Central Los Angeles or South Los Angeles. So it's really it's her story. I'm not in the book. It's just basically her and some other fictional characters. But anyways, but let's get back to storyboarding. I rattle and stuff like that. I don't want you to whatever. Unblock me. But anyways, let's talk about storyboarding. Illustrators, if you the thing about getting hired as an illustrator, drawing, an illustration, a storyboard artist is someone that takes is hired to do the visual, or to tell the story in frames, and that could be for. It could be for taking the director's vision after the project's completed. If you're doing the film, if you're on the film production, and then let's say a film is made, a feature film, like a huge studio film, where it's brilliant, and the storybook artist is brought on after the film is produced to translate and illustrate the whole movie and possibly put it in other mediums such as comic book. So when Star Wars came out, the merchandising and the merch on that it wasn't just the brilliant George Lucas smash hit, but that went off to become there was licensing possibilities, and sure enough, with Star Wars, there was a lot of comic books, and there was a lot of illustrating of R2D2 and the gang and stuff like that, and that is when you, as the artist who does the sketching, to realistically put the vision into frame to eventually be produced for a comic book. And I'm not just saying, I'm just using a comic book for as an example, because with the age of digital media and stuff like that, everything's going viral, and of course the pandemic has just killed the industry for 2 years, and it looks like it's going on to partially wounding it into 2022. But we're still around. We're still producing a bunch of stuff. Now, on the other end of storyboarding, of doing a storyboard, which is this, like this, is basically for advertising agencies. So as an illustrator or a sketch artist or an artist or anything like that, so basically, your best chances of getting, and I'm just picking out two, and I'm sure there's plenty of other ways of making money as a successful illustrator and storyboard artist and stuff like that. And there's plenty of websites out there, and I've studied them and seen them. And of course, I'm not, I do dabble in drawing, sketch drawing. I do a lot of charcoal. I use a lot of pastels, and of course, Ari and I and whoever else here from the Brotel, California, come in and use our pens and Crayolas and glue and mixed media. So we're a pretty artistic little family unit here. But when it comes to storyboarding and for advertising agencies, well, for instance, let's say if Del Monte, let's just say this is a can of Del Monte, of course, they're fresh cut sweet peas and stuff, and I just grabbed this out of the pantry as just an example. But as an illustrator, you could be hired to illustrate art, or art for corporate products like this. And then how, and it could be in it could be in logo work, the logo for new products. It could be for sketching the actual can of sweet peas and putting it into comic book form with kids at Thanksgiving around a table eating them, or kids, a mom and a kid fighting of, eat your peas, eat your vegetables, whatever it is. But then again, the advertising opportunities for you as an illustrator and artist are certainly there. And of course, Upwork.com is a great website. I would recommend any and all illustrators. I don't care if you're a comic book illustrator. I don't care if you're a logo guy or just curious about what storyboarding is. I would recommend definitely go to Upwork.com and just really kind of look at that. And actually, and it's great because you get to see some famous and not so famous and up and coming illustrators and storyboard artists, and their product and visualization of what they produce. So it's very interesting. I'm an old coon.com guy. I've worked for so many .coms over the years that I'm very in tune with a lot of these sites and stuff like that, and have been for many years. There's just a lot of opportunities for you out there as an illustrator, and I am here if you've got any questions. You guys have been sending me some art, some beautiful, beautiful art from just, I'm just really blown away. And, you keep sending them, and if you give me permission, I'll be more than happy to post those on my profile page or put something together for you all. But as we're talking to artists and stuff, and I don't care if it's if I'm talking to you know musicians, actors, models, illustrators, photographers, there's always, 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 always room in the industry for you. Now, where that's going to go in 2023, or I'm sorry, 2022 and into 2023, I'm not really sure. All I know is that as I sit here today, that I work on my projects, what I'm producing right now, all of my photography and a lot of my shorts and videos are has been picked up by Google Maps and stuff like that. So you'll see some of my video clips and a lot of my photography by just if you come to California or anywhere that I have been tagging where I have been for the past year, and a lot of my art finally is published, and you can catch me on Google Maps and also the Google app. So if you come and get a hamburger here in Seal Beach, you may or may not see one of my photographers, piece of my photography, or if you go into a place where I did a little video shoot or a snippet or a reel or a 15-minute whatever short, those some of my work is not a lot of videos, but probably in the future I'll be posting more. So if you go, like, for instance, to my primary doctor's office, I just posted yesterday a video that about a PSA ad for safe sex and Valentine's Day. That was shot in the interior of the doctor's office. Of course, I didn't get permission for it, but nobody was in the room, and I just loved the place so much that I did a review of the actual place, the service, the front, desk, because it's all about words, and I'm all about words with screenwriting and little quips and, skits and bits and whatever the hell. So, but I take my writing very serious on Google reviews, and I take my reviews very seriously. But what the point I was getting at is that no matter where and how, you have to get your product out there, whether it's your photography, it's your illustration, or even promoting yourself. You got to start using the internet and use it wisely, and because you really want to show the world of your creation. And so that's basically a little bit, a tidbit about storyboarding and stuff like that. And I want to get back to I just love kids so much, and I of course love this my little co-author friend Ariana, and I want to just let you know that you all really need to, if you're a parent, and as I was talking with Jen Griffin with the studio group here in Long Beach about this, that don't suppress your child's creativity. Okay, if it's annoying you, think about it before you take away a Crayola out of a kid's hand, or maybe putting white Elmer's glue up above a shelf away from them, because you don't want glue on the thing when he or she is trying to piece together maybe some mixed messaging. Because the worst thing you can do when you see a creative kid, whether they're in dance, acting, modeling, whatever that child is, you really need to focus on it, because they're doing it not to annoy you, but they're doing it because they enjoy it, that there's an inner drive. So rule number one for you parents out there, or for anyone, never stifle the creativity of a child, ever. it's the worst thing you can do, because it could lead to a separation in the relationship between you and your child, because you don't agree of what they're doing, because you think they're being naughty. But the worst thing you can do as an illustrator is take something like this out of a child's hands. Never. Encourage them and the arts. Encourage your kids to sing or whatever it is in the industry. But like I said, you recognize, of course, I'm just talking about, Ari is not a dancer or a singer or anything like that, but I recognize when she does, it starts like this. Really. Lines. This is how she sees herself as a black child. Her extensions, shape of her face. But I never, ever, and I always have encouraged her to keep drawing. And it all started off with homeschooling her math on shapes. How you draw. Elementary drawing is all about a dot. It all starts with a dot. Whether that dot goes into a line, swirl, whatever. That's about illustrating. And getting back to the industry, there's a lot of jobs out there for you folks. Don't get discouraged, because when you get that call by a South Korean company saying, I like your illustrations, I have a little show called Squid Game, and we're thinking about animating it for a comic book, because we want to capitalize like Star Wars did so brilliantly. As far as I'm concerned, the Star Wars franchise knew how to market, make money, because you see the action figures went out and the toys and this and that and the comic book. But if Squid Game calls you and says, I want to pick you to illustrate season 2 of Squid Game on Netflix comic books. Not a bad gig, right? Right? So if you like drawing and you just, I gotta draw, you may be like this. This is the artwork of Ariana. Clearly Squid Game. She's not gonna get the job. She's only 8, but you can. Anyways, this is James with Demo Reel. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Streaming Your Dreams. What can I say? Just make it a beautiful, beautiful day. I'm out there, and I've got some other, we're gonna be talking about hair and makeup and being beautiful and getting the actors ready, camera ready, and of course we're going to delve into, I'm going to find a photographer to tell me about photography and how we can incorporate that in producing, how we use photography in advertising agency, and also the fundamentals of the being hired in the film industry as a photographer, because there's many jobs for photographers out there. I'm going to try to bring you the best and the realest of the real people out there that have the best in the craft. And if I don't have a guest and I can fill in like I did today, not that I had a guest booked, I just want to show you about a storyboard artist, because I really believe in the illustration. I believe in art. And of course, I believe in America. And I definitely believe in the Hollywood industry. And anything I could do to help out or mentor, you just drop me a line, DM me, harass me, or check me out if you follow me on Snapchat. Snapchat for sure follows my every move 24/7. So if you see me in the field there, but if But also, if you want to see where I have been, you just go to Google Maps and click on Seal Beach, Long Beach, anywhere in California. But anyways, this is James Robert Parada with Demo Reel. You all make it a good day and go out there and make a difference in the world and get that job. Anyways, thanks for joining me today.